Creighton Basketball is an exclusive presentation of Creighton University Athletics and NRG Media Omaha.
The phone's blowing up, but you're in the driver's seat. Ignore the buzz, keep your eyes on the street. No text back, no scroll, just let it wait. Attention on the road, that's the only way. Phone's blowing up, but you're in the driver's seat. Ignore the buzz, keep your eyes on the street. No text back, no scroll, just let it wait.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
The backseat. Check the backseat.
All right, come here.
Check the backseat.
Gets in your head, right? Good. Because every year, dozens of children are forgotten in the backseat of a car by a parent or caregiver. All never thought it could happen to them. But with changes in routines, distractions, or a sleeping child, it can happen to anyone. Parked cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. So get it in your head.
Check the backseat.
A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The Huskers are headed to the locker room, and it's time for Big Red Overreaction. The live post-game show with all the info and opinions you can handle. Plus the most important voice of all, yours. Big Red Overreaction is presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And by No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. Get on the line now at 402-951-1620 and sound off on Big Red Overreaction. Live on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The K.
Welcome into Big Red Overreaction here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, zonetv.live, 1019 The Keg, all the places. 1620 The Zone app. We appreciate you joining us as Nebraska 56 away from falling. We just figured why not start this bad boy up with the Creighton exhibition game coming to an end. I am Josh Peterson, joined tonight by Matt McMaster, Joey Colbert, and as always, we are brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Also brought to you by No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. Phones are full. So we'll start off with that at 402-951-1620. Brett's been on hold for a half hour. Brett, we'll get to you momentarily. We'll do that before the Matt Rule press conference. Matt, man, I mean, we got a lot of different directions that we're going to go over the course of the next couple of hours. We'll be on with the folks until after midnight into Saturday morning. But this is, I would say, to this point, the low point of the Matt Rule era.
Pretty damn close.
Midway through year 3, top 25 team for the first time in a little over a calendar year, going on the road against a team that has absolutely owned you since 2019, has not lost to you since Scott Frost's first year as Dylan Raiola. Is that now sack number?
8 or 9?
That is number, I think that's either 8 or 9 as he goes down.
It might be 9 because they gave up the one where it was just a free rusher.
That's 9,
now,
indeed.
PJ Fleck is hugging everybody on the sideline.
Yeah, and so this is the low point of the Matt Rule era so far, and then it comes off the week that it does, and I know that is not something that we can avoid tonight, right? Like, that is a part of the story.
I don't think, look, personally, how this game played out, I don't think it was a factor. But some people will think it's a factor. And frankly, Josh, for the people who think that, I'm not fully, I don't think they're fully wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, there has been a lot of talk around this program and a lot of look forward on this program, right? They were a 7.5-point favorite tonight. How many times did we say, well, the playoff is realistic? Oh, they're going to be favored in almost every single game. We were talking about going to Penn State on the road in Happy Valley as if it was like a guaranteed win that we don't even pay attention to it anymore. So, if you want to say that they were distracted, I may not fully agree with it, but I don't think that those people are off base. I'll just say this because, look, we have a long show, and there are a lot of points that you and I have already talked about off air that we're going to get on air. But this is the main crux of it all for me. This was the Are You Different game.
Yeah, it really was.
Are you different? Are you a different program? Because a different program at 5-1, who's ranked number 25 with a lot of hype, with a lot of hope toward the future, goes to Minnesota and does something that they haven't done in forever, and that's beat a not a good Minnesota Golden Gopher team
on
the road.
Correct.
And they weren't different. Minnesota did the exact same thing
That they always do.
That they always do to them. They bullied them. They imposed their will. They were more physical. They ran the ball down their throat. And once again, in the Matt Rule era, just like it was last year, where they had a really good record and they were ranked in the coaches poll, and you were excited about a game, what happens? They go ahead and they get their asses kicked. That happened.
213 total yards for Nebraska.
So when you ask
213.
Yeah. So when you ask the question, hey, is this program different? Have they taken the step? Have they moved forward after this game? My answer is no.
No. If anything, this is one of those games that makes you wonder if they have taken a step back. It's honestly one of those types of games. And Dave Fight points this out, our friend from Husker Max. 3 of Nebraska's last 4 halves have now ended with a sack. The game just ended, by the way. It's officially final 24-6, Minnesota victorious. And so Nebraska falls to 5-2 on the season. But how about that? That they end, the 9th sack comes as the way to finish up the 3rd of the last 4 halves that Nebraska has played in. And the one time it didn't happen, of course, was the drive last week versus Maryland.
It was an embarrassing loss.
It really was
embarrassing. Can I give you? I'll give you one stat.
Yeah,
I think that kind of fully encompasses this game. Now let me see if it's updated here because I wrote it down a couple.
Minnesota's storming the field, by the way.
Yeah, it's whatever. They absolutely dominated. It's their prerogative. Minnesota entered this game averaging 3.3 yards per carry. 3 yards per carry. They're ranked 127th. Out of 136
This stat's going to piss me off.
Entering this game.
And what is it? What was it tonight?
Darius Taylor averaged 6.2 yards per carry. That would rank 4th in the country with Michigan.
Yeah.
The team itself, the entire Minnesota team, averaged 5.3 yards per carry. That would rank tied for 18th in the country. So Minnesota entered the game as the 127th team in the country in rushing, the 9th worst team in the country in rushing. They played tonight against Nebraska's defensive line as if Darius Taylor was the 4th best running back in the country, and the team was the 18th best running team in the country.
Yeah.
That's the story.
Yeah, it very much. It's one of the many stories, right? And this one, Kevin wrote on the YouTube. I took a screenshot of this 20 minutes ago because I wanted to have it for the start of the show. After the whole last week of media bleep we had to endure as Husker fans because of Penn State, and this is what is put on the table. You got to be kidding me. F football. I'm only watching volleyball. And by the way, that's what I meant when I said what I did to start the show. It was less about were they distracted? It's more they kept saying, and Rule kept saying, that's not what this is. Like, this is not a distraction. And so for them to go out, and I don't know what that did or didn't do. Like, I'm not going to come on the show and be like, they lost because of that. No, like, they lost because they got their asses beat up and down the field on both lines of scrimmage for 60 minutes tonight. But like, to do that, to give that to your fans who have supported you, like, that is a joke of a performance by this football team.
They were trailing in the 3rd quarter and had to take a timeout because
they were getting rammed the ball down their throat.
And everybody saw the timeout and was like, well, they kind of had to take it.
Because you were like, another timeout. And I was like, and I that's my thought. They have to do it. But they're tired.
But then my point is,
you got to stop them.
Yeah, you can't allow yourself to get to the point where you're already trailing in the second half and you have to use a timeout to stop the bleeding.
Big Red Overreaction is brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair. Also brought to you by Prairie Flower Casino. Play longer, win more. And, of course, by Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems experts. We will go to the Jay Stinnett Contracting Hotline to kick this bad boy off. We will have Matt Rule press conference material for you as soon as he speaks to the media. Now, Brett has been waiting on hold for a little over a half hour. And Brett, I saw your tweet because I asked a question an hour ago. What will callers be most mad about tonight on Overreaction? And I gave 4 potential options. Penn State was a distraction. Dylan Raiola, the offensive line, and the defense. You said, I've been on hold for a while. I will complain about whatever the highest voting option is. Brett, that is the offensive line. So take it away, sir.
Well, so here's the thing, man. I've been a long time Big Red Overreaction caller on hold. Done it a handful of times. Got my lovely lady sitting here going, why the hell are you doing this? Did it in Boulder, did it after the Cincinnati game, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
So if it's the offensive line, then you know what? I'll complain about that.
Perfect.
That's totally easy. why is Dylan Raiola getting absolutely murdered every single time he drops back to pass? Well, he probably owns a little bit of that, right?
Yes.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you got to step up. You know, you got to work through the progression. Got to know when it's time to throw it away. But you know, Josh, the big thing here that I'm trying to comprehend is, what in the heck are we doing in practice? But like, why are we not sending our guys after them like madmen to try to figure out what's wrong with our pass rush? Right. So that's the complaint that I have about our offensive line. Why are we not taking every guy we have, throw them at them like Call of Duty Black Ops zombies, throw them at the offensive line, let them go crazy, make those guys learn how to handle adversity. Not going to comment on anything else. Love the show. You know, call way more than I probably should. But
No, you're the man, dude.
that's my.
You're good.
Thank you for the call, Brett, there at 402-951-1620. We can unpack some of the things that he said, but right now, Matt Rule is speaking to the media contingent up in Minneapolis, so let's go there right now.
Obviously, very disappointed. Credit to them. They were the more physical team. They made the plays they needed to make, and they beat us pretty convincingly. So hats off to them, and obviously disappointed for our guys.
Questions? Coach, what did they do just to kind of get you guys out of rhythm? It just didn't seem like either side, offense or defense, had the flow that maybe you guys had been playing in the last few weeks. Yeah, defensively, they gave up the one long touchdown. And other than that, they didn't really move the ball against us in the first half. It didn't, felt like that at times, but they had 52 yards passing. They had, aside from that long one, they didn't have many yards rushing. So, but it definitely felt like we were on our heels, even though, and then obviously in the third quarter, the 4th and 1 defensive holding call was a really, really crucial call. Felt like we had them stopped. Everyone played the play, and, so defensively, I just we're on the field a lot. But offensively, the very first play of the game, we had a missed assignment, just was out of whack. Obviously, Rocco going down, and, our prayers are up for him. Hopefully he's okay. They had to take him to the hospital. It sounded like, and then, obviously losing Pritch. But yeah, I just honestly, Sean, we were just kind of out of whack the whole day. They pressured us, when we had chances to make plays. We ran by them, we didn't catch, just, and I don't say it's any one thing, right? Just at no point did we make the play you needed to make to win the game. Couldn't, it's 1 for 5 on third down in the first half. And just a really bad effort. 9 sacks is extreme. What's your immediate explanation? How would you size that up?
It was a little bit of everything. You get the back gets beat by a linebacker, and back missed assignment, not in the flat. The quarterback goes to throw it to him, gets sacked. A couple of them maybe were holding. But just overall, I thought they were the more physical team tonight. Obviously, you lose 2 offensive linemen. That's going to hurt you, but we're not going to make any excuses. They got after us.
From a sheer blocking and tackling standpoint, where do you feel like your guys' level of execution was, and also at some point maybe in that second half, your level of belief on offense?
I don't want to start. I don't want to start psychoanalyzing it on my end. I think I can only make mistakes if I do that. But to your point, at halftime we came, we just kept saying tackling. They ran running shallow crosses first man, and we were missing the tackles. Even the long touchdown run has to get tackled. You have to tackle those plays. We have the players to do it. We have to make those plays, and so. But it wasn't any one play. It just. John had 5 D linemen in there, and you just need to make a play, make a negative play, and we just were never able to do it. And then offensively, I don't want to make it anything more. At least today, I'll talk to you guys on Monday, obviously. But for me, it was anything more than just blocking and catching and making a play. We got the ball down the red zone twice, and we don't score. And early in the game, those are plays. You like to be at 14-3 in that, or 14-7 in that first half. So. I just think it was just they were just absolutely the better team tonight, and we never took advantage of anything the whole night. I'm sorry.
What was the explanation that you got on Pritchett's targeting?
He knocked him down. When he's down, you can't hit him, so that was the 15-yard part of it, which is a correct call. And then they said that he led with his helmet and hit him in the helmet. So that therefore is targeting. So I didn't get much else other than that.
What did you see from your kids' focus tonight? Coming into the game, how did you feel about their attention to what was in front of them, and then obviously as the game went on too?
Yeah, just like I just said on offense. I mean, I can't say it was. I said there was missed assignments, there was mental errors. I mean, just really disappointing. I think on all of our end, on defense, it just felt like we just like penalties and things like that. I thought we had a really good week of practice. We traveled really well. There's nothing that led me to think that this was going to be like this. But I don't want to minimize that on their end. I mean, I think they played really well. They had a good plan. They just ran the football, and part of stopping the run, as it accumulated throughout the game was also like, not just going 3 and out. I mean, you got to move the ball on offense. You got to score points. You got to make them be, not just one dimensional. And we just never really quite put them under any duress. We never scored any points on offense so we just didn't play a complete game. And, special teams wise, until that very last punt return, there was really never a big play that, but I'd hate to take anything away from Minnesota in terms of focus. I just think that they were the more physical team as the game wore on tonight. We didn't make any plays to change that.
What was Rocco's exact injury? And was Vincent Shavers, did he have something too?
Yeah, V9. V9 had surgery on his thumb on Tuesday, and was cleared to play. Was planning on playing. Just as he started, like just too painful. So wasn't able to play. Appreciate him for trying to play. Just wasn't able to go. And then Rocco, all they said to me was he came off the field. And they just said he broke his hand, broke his finger, and sounded like it was even more serious than that. Like I don't want to say everything without knowing, but they had to take him to the hospital immediately. So obviously those were 2 really good players for us.
Okay, what that long drive they had, that 90 how much of a spirit backbreaker is that?
I think they all are. I mean. At some point you're hoping, we believe in our guys. You're hoping someone, knocks a ball out, makes a big tackle, sack, fumble, something. And, we get off the field. There were times, I said the first half, we looked really crisp on defense, in terms of stopping them run early, but, they were bleeding it for 4 and 5 yards. I think it just took a toll on us after a while, and, credit to them. There's not really much else I can say other than that. It's just credit to them.
You guys took a defensive timeout in the middle of that drive, and then kind of got some of the momentum back until that 4th down play. How key was that sequence right there in the whole game? Yeah, I mean they hadn't scored yet. So I think I can't remember the exact timing of it, but I believe still like a 1-score game, right? So yeah, so John said, "Hey guys, roll pass, back's gonna be in the flat." Back they ran a pick route to the guy in the flat. Javen got off the top, played it. We're gonna sack the quarterback and defensive holding, right? So. We helped them with a lot of penalties today, to flip the field. At that point, we're kind of starting to have some issues with some bodies, defensively, some guys were getting banged up. So, we kind of had to go to a 4-down front, took a timeout. And that's the play, you're hoping you make that 4th and 1 stop, and that's the play that kind of ignites you. We never really had that igniting play in the game. Are you surprised you weren't able to run the ball more effectively against them?
Well, in the middle of the 3rd quarter, I keep track of the running back. We're averaging like 4.5 yards a carry. But I mean, the sacks were just such stress. You're in 3rd and 2, and it's a sack, and Dylan just got beat up, and there was just a lot of like free runners, a lot of guys. Him getting Emmett. I thought Emmett was really good again tonight. Just getting hit in the backfield, a lot of. They did a lot of things. I came in knowing I knew they were going to blitz us. I said, "Hey, they're going to blitz you. They're going to pressure you." And we had some RPOs built in to try to beat it, some checks try to beat it. We never really beat it. And so I'll have to watch the tape a little bit more. But I mean, for being honest, it was kind of like that everywhere, especially in the second half tonight. Like just nothing materialized in the second half, and that was disappointing.
One more, Coach, if there is.
Do you think that is Rocco going to have to stay here tonight? Is he going to?
I have no idea. I literally went in the locker room and came in here, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure honestly what the prognosis is.
Okay.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, that is Matt Rule's press conference. Josh Peterson and Matt McMaster with you. We got Joey Colbert answering your phone calls tonight on the Jay Stinnett Contracting Hotline. And when we return, we will go to the phones. Jonah, Rick, Jake, Espen, Kevin in Denver. Stay right there. This is Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Also brought to you by No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. John Bishop has found out the score. He was unable to avoid it. John is here.
John, just go.
I just picked up my pants. They crap there.
John, just don't have to watch game tonight.
Just go to bed, John.
Just go to bed.
Go to
Get
bed.
some sleep.
Overreaction is brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center Mechanical Repair. Also brought to you by Prairie Flower Casino. Play longer, win more. And by Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems experts. Nebraska blown out in disgusting fashion, 24-6. We break it down next here on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
I'm Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. We know your time matters, so when you call us, we answer on the very first ring. That's our promise to you. We value your business and will treat you like a friend and neighbor, because more than likely, you are one. While other banks hide behind technology, we combine the best of both. Top-notch digital banking and online banking with people who care. Got a question or need help? We're just one ring away. At Equitable Bank, we take banking personally because you deserve it. Member FDIC.
Bigger Overreaction, 1620 The Zone, and 1019 The Keg. Josh Peterson, Matt McMaster with you. Holy God, I disappear for 5 minutes and there's 105 comments in the YouTube chat. Wow.
That was actually fun.
Telling John what happened?
Filling in John Bishop.
Fun because you're a hater?
No.
Just so he doesn't have to watch the game.
It was actually really good practice to figure out
It
what
is.
the rest of the show
It
is
is.
going
You
to
know,
be.
that's a great point. This is Bigger Overreaction brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Also brought to you by No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. Josh Peterson, Matt McMaster with you. And that's true because, you know, if you're like us, you're hanging out this weekend with your pals, maybe someone who doesn't really like football very much, but knows that you have opinions on it. They're going to ask you, so what happened in the game? I don't know where to start, but we just we just went 8 different places with John in a few minutes. I guess you start with the sacks. That's probably the headline. I mean, Sipple, how did he phrase his question?
How do you...
How
do you address that?
Well, no, but he said
that's
like
a lot.
Yeah,
That's
the
a
way
lot.
he said a lot,
It was so
it was quite the.
He
said 9, like alarming. Was it
that was
alarm?
something like that.
Extreme. He said 9 sacks. That's an extreme number, and
that was such a good question.
It really was.
That was a great comment in the YouTube chat. Someone goes, "I feel bad for McMaster. He shares the same name as Matt Rule." It is kind of tough. I will say this: when people start yelling about Matt. I go, is that me or is that the guy who's making $78 million?
Jason says, Josh, I told you earlier this week not to talk about how bad Minnesota wasn't running the ball. This is what this Nebraska team does to us every single freaking time. If this team thinks he's leaving, this is the beginning of the end.
Not to pat the morning show on the back, but Gary and I
not to brag.
We both were like, we were very concerned that Darius Taylor seemed like this was the week he was fully healthy and coming back from injury. Because
their play-by-play guy, and Mike Grimm told us that yesterday.
He was historically, Darius Taylor has been one of the 5 to 6 best running backs in the Big Ten.
I saw him in person twice last year. I came away very impressed by him.
Yeah, and like, were you at the USC game when he played again? The Minnesota versus USC game last year was when he was like at full force and he looked great. The year before he was over 1,000 yards rushing. He's
good.
He's been hurt. It seems like it just takes.
And their offensive line hasn't been very good this year.
It seems like it just takes Nebraska to play Minnesota for Minnesota to turn into Minnesota.
This game, I just remembered that I watched the Purdue game and how bad they looked, and now I'm mad all over again.
Do you remember the California game? How bad they looked in that game?
Correct,
too?
dude. They have not looked good this year.
They
and
have
Nebraska,
not played good football.
No. And Sicilian says Josh predicted a 17-point win. Embarrassing.
I predicted a 10-point.
But instead, it's an 18-point loss.
I was off by 35 points. Thank God I didn't put this in my pick'em.
Real quick too.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't score a point in the second half. I didn't realize that until
John goes, what was the score at the halftime? And we said 7-6. And then it hit me. You're right. Like,
they didn't score 1 point in the second half.
That's a joke of a performance. We'll keep unpacking this all night long. Let's go back to the Jay Stinnett Contracting Hotline. Jake, hopefully you're still there. You've been waiting on hold for a while. Thank you for joining us on Big Red Overreaction.
Hey, how's it going?
It's not going well.
So I just wanted to talk about, it just seems to be that there's a lot of a certain age demographic that doesn't want to donate to 1890. And they don't like it because of Matt Davidson. And Matt Davidson kind of has that hangover Scott Frost thing going on. And they just won't give money to it anymore. So how do we get them past that? Because I'm a big believer in the small donation kind of person. I got a family of 6. I give $30 a month, $5 per person. If 100,000 people gave $5 a month, that's $6 million a year towards the NIL. How do we get people to just realize just a small donation matters in the current state of where college football's at? That's it, guys.
Yeah. Real quick.
I'm stunned that's like the takeaway from tonight's game.
I'm sorry. Is the ticket that I buy to go to the game not good enough? Are the jerseys that I not buy not good enough? Are the packages that I not buy good enough? Which, by the way, too, why would and he's talking about a certain demographic. I think that he's probably talking about people that are closer to my age, from
my
25
age,
to 30.
Let
me tell you something right now. The kids that are my age, who were born in 2000 and 2001 and 1990 and 1998 and 1997, who were born during that time, what have we seen to think, oh, I want to continue, I want to give more money to this product, I want to take my hard-earned dollars and donate to this? You know what? They have a lot of money, okay? And they've spent some of that money over the last couple of years in the wrong places, all right? Plain and simple. So I don't think that the takeaway from this game is, how do we give more money to the University of Nebraska for them to get more players, okay?
That's not the takeaway from tonight.
No.
I am happy to have that conversation, and John and I had that conversation on Sportsman Iconic this week, and we will continue to have it in the future. But tonight is not because their NIL operation isn't as good as Indiana's. Matt writes on Twitter, that was a public execution. With all the monkey off the back talk with Minnesota, that was as demoralizing of a loss as one could have written up. Tonight is not about looking forward. Tonight is not about like what's going to happen against Northwestern. It's going to be about your reactions to tonight's game. But I don't think that this sentiment can be ignored enough as we get into next week. I think that is something that I would be very concerned about, because all of the issues that they have had over the last few weeks that they have gotten away with in wins over Michigan State and in wins over Maryland came home to roost in the absolute worst way possible.
What was good about tonight?
No, you asked that right before the game ended, and I said the punt. I would say Emmett Johnson ran hard. As always, I like how he runs. And he had some cool jump cuts.
And I would say Luke Lindenmeyer played well.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. I think you said something, you asked a question. Like, did Dylan ever have a normal pass?
No. Is there a pass that comes to mind where he just threw the crossover or crossover?
He doesn't
over the middle
throw
of the field?
those, so no.
Did
the
he,
answer to that
did,
is no.
Did he ever throw like a curl? Did he ever throw a comeback? Did he ever throw like anything for 10 to 15 yards? That was just a normal 5-step drop, 1-2 seconds, throw the ball away. Yeah. Right? If Dylan Raiola was a Tom Moore quarterback, Tom Moore would have had a heart attack on the field. Okay. I mean, just so many times he held the ball way too long.
Back to the phones we go. Rick is up next on the Jay Stinnett Contracting Hotline. Rick, what's going on?
I just want to remind all of the Nebraska fans that 998 is the number to call tonight after you get off of the Zone Hotline brought to you by Jay Stinnett Contracting. 998. They can help you with all of your depression.
Wow, Rick. Hey, at least thanks for giving us a Jay Stinnett Contracting Hotline mention, though. We appreciate it.
We'll mark that down.
Yeah, I marked it. I gave it a marking.
I'll take it.
Fox,
take anything tonight.
Fox Sports not on hold and said Espin is on hold. Hello, Espin.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on again. I just don't know what to think at this point. Dylan holds the ball too long, but I just want to know, like, I'd love to be a fly on the wall in the offensive line room. Like, do they know they suck? Does Gunnar Gatola know? Like, how does he sleep at night? I'm just not sure. I'm not sure where to go from here. The culture is never going to change, no matter who the coach is, until we fix the lines of scrimmage. I don't know what else to say. It's depressing. I mean, if they can't walk around campus proud, I can't even imagine that. But anyway, guys, hopefully something changes. And one more thing with the rule to Penn State. I mean, do they want him?
Espin, I was thinking, and thanks for the call. I was thinking about their message boards tonight, and I don't have time to go look at them, but I was wondering, those have to just be a cesspool, an absolute cesspool. Offensive line, bad. 9 sacks allowed. Dylan Raiola, how many sacks would you put on the line?
7. Oh, on the
line. So you'd put 2.
I'd put 2.
Yeah.
2. I have to go back and I have to, like Matt Rule, I have to go back and watch the tape, but I would say
they were so bad tonight.
I would say 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But I mean, so I was asking, Gary was at the game, and I do want to say this. The Fox broadcast was atrocious tonight, and it wasn't even just about like Brando and Harris. Like, I was so mad that Dylan was holding on to the ball so long. We never got a wide receiver shot of like, hey, are they open or not? So I was asking Gary, I was like, hey, is there a lot of separation? He was like, he wasn't like they were wide open, but he's like, there was, it was a tough time with them getting separation, but I don't think I didn't see any tweets of, hey, I'm at the game and, oh my God, they're absolutely blanketed and they're absolutely covered. And I don't know, man, like, I'm sure we'll get some TV calls. Okay.
I'm surprised, honestly, that we're this far into the show.
And I will
say
say this.
You just set it up, though.
I will say this. It is a little annoying when it's 3rd and 9, it's 3rd and 10.
And he can't run.
And just the defense knows that he is not a threat whatsoever to
and he knows he's not a threat.
Which is why he does all that hanky-panky BS and runs around and flips the ball, like, because he knows that he just doesn't have the athleticism under, on his lower half to go ahead and get 10
and he
yards
doesn't
on
want to
scramble.
throw the ball away. For whatever reason, he doesn't want to throw the ball away. Doesn't want to throw the ball away.
Yeah, that's another thing, too, where we're going to have a game where it's like he had a 68% completion percentage tonight because he was 17. Let me see here. So
I was just going to say, let's go look at the number.
17 of 24, I believe.
17 of 25.
17 of 25.
That's 68%.
But he goes, okay. So
that's tiring, man.
But wait, real quick, Josh.
Yeah.
He had 9 sacks tonight, which means that they attempted to throw the ball 34 times.
Correct.
So if he throws the ball out of bounds, let's say 7 times,
then he's suddenly 17 of 32, and
which
that's
is
50%.
Like 50, 54.
But you know what?
55%.
You wouldn't have gone backwards. He went backwards. He had 13 rushes so he had 4 actual carries tonight, including a long of 17, and that was the one that saved the last points of the game for Nebraska.
But they clearly, it was 3rd and 20.
No, I know. I'm just trying to figure out, like, because if you did NFL rules, which they should in terms of yardage, his yards passing would be closer to 120 tonight. So he'd be 17 of 25 for 120 yards. And that doesn't sound a whole lot better, but congrats on the completion percentage being high, I guess. A text from an unnamed person writes, "Are you effing kidding me? The first guy out of the break is bitching about donations."
I can't believe that
to
was
1890. They just got bitch slapped by effing talentless Minnesota.
Like maybe there's a conversation to be had about that, but just not tonight. And also too, it's not as if is Nebraska, like Matt Rule said, at the top of the heap. No, they're not.
Where's Minnesota?
But Bing.
Where's Minnesota?
Bingo.
You see what happened against Purdue last week? They almost lost to Purdue, and they just went up and down the field on you. Kevin is in Denver. Hello, Kevin.
Hey guys, long time listener, first time caller,
appreciate
first time listener, long time caller, whatever you say.
Yeah, you're good.
Dude, I would say that you guys really need to talk to Ricketts about legalizing marijuana out there, because I got on here about 40 minutes ago, and now I'm a lot calmer than I was about 40 minutes ago.
Is it because of weed?
Marijuana is amazing, man. It takes away a lot of the issues. You know, I kind of forgot about a lot of the things I was going to try to bring up because it's just that great. But anyways, yeah, the marijuana's setting in. I don't know what else to bring up, guys. I mean, you know, we talked about it all already. We're just not there. Like, you know, you talk about Elijah Pritchard coming out. Dude, Nebraska's always been next man up. Where are we? Next man up. We're not next man up. We're not next man on the line right now. Like, line play is crap on both ends. We don't have, you know, a good defensive coordinator that we can't cover a crossing pattern. We can't even do a crossing pattern ourselves. I mean, Raiola has no time in the pocket to do a standard, like you said, a 5-yard curl.
Yeah.
A drag route, anything like that. We're trying to make this miraculous, you know, play to happen. And look at the big plays they had tonight. It was a simple run play, simple pass play. I mean, we just can't do nothing of a good standard. We lost to a team that has a fraction of the talent we have just because they have the fundamentals down. They understand not to attack the quarterback, sit on your zone. Don't let that running back get outside, and they win that way. I mean, you know, if Matt Rule wants to go to Penn State, great. Give him the highest paid. We are so far away from where we truly want to be just because we cannot get the fundamentals down and we can't get the next one lined up. NIL thought was we can pay the guys to come here. Nebraska's a great place. Matt Rule is promoting the hell out of it. We still don't have the guys that we need. I mean, if we got a Jeremiah Smith today right here, do we still win that game? Probably not. You know, we need playmakers, and we don't have the basic fundamentals to make those playmakers as good.
Thank you, Kevin. So, appreciate it, man.
Hey, I do got one question before you guys go.
Go ahead. Yeah, what's up?
Honestly, one thing that's kind of really hit me, like, I love Raiola, and he did not lose the game for us at all. He's running around crazily. But, like, are we just extremely happy that we finally have a decent quarterback?
No, because I don't think it's a finally.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's a number 1, number 2 recruit coming out of 2024. Like, if we got the number 1 recruit 2025, 2026, like, how does it make anything better here today?
Thanks for the call, Kevin. I don't think anyone's happy with the quarterback play.
I think Kevin had a very good call.
Pro weed.
No, but I think just in general.
Yeah.
And he made some good points of, like, there were some issues, and we'll get to it later in the show, that was San's talent. You know, it was San's, like, how many stars you had or how fast your guys were. Like, there was just some systematic just coaching issues. But real quick, like the whole O-line conversation and Dylan isn't the reason why they lost the game tonight. Like, man, there were some times where the O-line actually stood up, and there was 3-4 seconds for him to throw, and he just didn't throw it.
First scoring drive of the game, he misses dang key on the fade route.
Stop throwing the fades.
And he was open too. And like in the which game was it that he missed the fade? Was it the Michigan game?
It was the Michigan game right before they failed on the 4th and 2 in the first drive.
So you missed the fade and also missed the deep ball in the second half, right? That was in the second half when he missed the deep ball by 5 to 10 yards. I'll need to go back and rewatch it. That was, you know, the criticism of his deep pass has been he underthrows it. He chucked that ball way too far. And I mean, you knew it right away. The camera pans and it's like, all right, well, there's no chance we're going to get that one. And so you missed out on that one. He steps into a lot of the sacks tonight.
That first drive, remember when you said, hey, that was one of the worst first drives they've had this year?
It was.
That last play on the first drive, he like threw the ball deep and it was like 20 yards out of bounds.
Yeah, that first drive, I went and sorry.
Oh, well, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so I went and looked at it. They went 6 plays, 12 yards against Cincinnati at punt. And then after that, it was always either scoring or ending on downs. Touchdown and a touchdown against Michigan State, a field goal against Houston Christian. They ended on downs against Michigan and Maryland. Today, 3 plays, 1 yard. And then they had to punt the ball. It was their worst first drive of the game since the opening game of the entire season. And they had to give the ball to Minnesota. And they moved the ball better in the first half, certainly, than they did the second half. The second half was an abomination.
Well, the second half, they come out. Okay, let's just say it. Dana did not have a good day.
Terrible day.
Terrible day.
Terrible day.
So this is the one that irks me here. Okay, this is the sequence that really fires me up, and it gets
John,
me mad.
earmuffs in your car as you make your way back to Lincoln, so you can watch it and find it for yourself later.
So Emmett Johnson goes ahead and he runs the ball 12 yards.
And so real quick, this is the drive. Is this the drive?
This is in the third quarter.
The first drive of the half, right?
Of the half.
So EJ picks up a third down screen. Very nice play.
Yes.
Has a real nice run. That's the play you're talking about. Up the middle.
12 yards up the middle. It's 24 yards on back-to-back plays for Nebraska. They're now on the Minnesota 43-yard line.
This is the drive where he misses on Key bad, where he overthrows him.
So they then follow up a 12-yard run from Emmett Johnson where he looks great.
He's looking awesome.
He's making tackles miss. He's going all over the field. He looks like a human joystick. What do they follow that up with? 3 straight passes.
Yeah.
Pass to 1 yard line on a really bad concept in Ja'Cory Barney, which gets tackled right away at the line of scrimmage. Then he misses the deep ball. Then they throw the ball again and he gets sacked for 9 yards.
Yep.
You got Emmett Johnson.
And that was the 6th sack of the game.
You had Emmett Johnson looking the best he's looked almost all year.
All year. You said it around that time. We'd been having a conversation about wow, Emmett looks fresh.
And they took the ball out of his hands.
Yeah. And the next drive, by the way, so that's when they punt it to the 2, and that's the drive that Minnesota gets the 14-6 lead and the game's over.
And what was the conversation too after the Michigan State game of okay, well, we really didn't hand the ball off to Emmett that much, but he was looking really good. He was having 6 yards a carry. So you know what? What did he say after the Maryland game? He's like, well, he actually ran the ball well against Michigan State. We put the ball in his hands more against Maryland. He ended up being the reason they win that game.
Yep.
Why? Once again,
that was the moment.
Why are you taking the ball out of the guy that at this point you don't trust anybody more than Emmett Johnson on this offense?
That the whole end of that drive is terrible. You figure, all right, well, at least you punt him down to the 2. And then that's when they really start. I mean, the most demoralizing drive of the entire season. They're breaking tackles. You said something during the broadcast about how every time they would get stood up, they still would fall forward. They'd be picking up those yards.
That's a conversation for 25 minutes down the line too. And then also too, so they go ahead, they score a 98-yard drive. What do they come out with? You need to score here. You're down 14-6.
Yeah.
The momentum is gone.
Yeah.
What do you lead off with? A pass attempt, and a pass attempt.
And he gets sacked in there for the 7th of the game at that point in time.
And by the way, on none of those pass attempts did he throw the ball.
By the way, one more thing, not to say by the way again. At one point on the drive that we were focused on, they flashed up a graphic and I wrote it down in my notes. Nebraska at that point had 15 plays in Minnesota territory, and Minnesota had 1. And that was because they got tackled at the 1 yard line and scored a play later. But still, Nebraska 15 plays in their territory, 6 points. 1 play in Nebraska territory, 7 points. And then the next drive, Minnesota had many plays in Nebraska territory and took a 14-6 lead. Let's take one more call before we go to break. Jonah is up next on Big Red Overreaction. Let's go to the Jay Sinnott Contracting Hotline. Hello, Jonah.
What's going on?
Hey.
So I want to talk about the coordinators, right? So did you guys listen to the press conferences?
Yep.
Earlier this
with
week.
Dana and John. Okay, so Dana, what did he say? What did he say about Maryland in the beginning of the press conference? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
Help us out, Jonah.
How he should run the ball more and how he should have done it earlier in the season, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So what did he do in the beginning of this game?
Throw the ball.
The first drive, we didn't even run the ball once. We have Emmett Johnson coming into his hometown, fired up as you know what, ready to run the ball, and he didn't even run the ball once. Okay, so you talk about, let's go to the other side of the ball. John Butler.
Yeah.
John Butler, what did he say in his press conference?
He says, if I were them, I'd run the ball on us.
Exactly. Okay, so what did they do?
They ran the ball.
They ran the ball. So forget the first caller about the NIL.
Yes.
That's a joke.
Yes.
That's a joke. That call was a joke. Minnesota's NIL is nothing. It's peanuts compared to what Nebraska has. Am I right? Or am I right?
You're absolutely right.
Absolutely. I know I am. Plus, 90% of Nebraska fans know. So let's instead of placing the blame on Dylan and the offensive line and they should have gave the Emmett the ball more. That's Dana. Well, okay, the run game. They knew the run game was coming. What happened? They ran all down our throats the whole game, all 4 quarters. After that 70-yard run, I was like, okay, well, maybe John can dive back into what he said in the press conference, a couple days prior. No, it became more embarrassing. It's a joke. Let's talk about the coaching instead of the players. I'd like to hear what you have to say.
We did actually. We were just talking.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole lead up to that phone call was actually you saying this is a horrible game from Dana Holgerson. So
yeah, he and look, I got to go back and we got to rewatch the game, but they kind of ran a lot of the same sets with like the one tight end and Lindenmeyer lined up to the right, like offset, EJ to the left, and they hand off that ball. Like they ran that.
Yeah, you called it out a lot.
Like they're like, and they really didn't. Once again, I have to go back, but it was too many times where I was just seeing too many of the same formations and some of the same concepts coming out of it. Where it's like, where was the creative screen game tonight?
Yeah.
We were raving about that after Maryland, raving about that after Michigan State. I didn't really see it. Like, it just seemed like the things that they were doing well against MSU and Maryland, they got away from.
Bigger Overreaction is brought to you by Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems experts. Also brought to you by Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more, and by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair. The title sponsors of Bigger Overreaction this season are Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. When we return, Wade, Rusty, Jake, Spencer, Brad, we will get to your phone calls. We will continue to take those. A lot of comments, a lot of tweets coming in. We'll try to get to as many of those as possible as well as we roll on. Josh Peterson with Matt McMaster, Joey Colbert here producing. It is Big Red Overreaction following the 24-6 loss to Minnesota on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg. Nebraska falls 24-6 to Minnesota. Dare I say the most embarrassing loss of the Matt Rule era. This is Big Red Overreaction, brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Also brought to you by No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. We are taking phone calls on the Jay Sinnott Contracting Hotline. If Joey answers, please treat him well.
Is this worse than UCLA?
Yes.
Oh, I was out of town for that game. I was glad to not be in Omaha for that.
I bet you were, Joey. Yes. I mean, I think so because they got.
Because it's very two sides of the coin, right?
Yeah. I mean, they both sucked. Because that one had a lot of turnovers.
Yeah. UCLA was very much it can't get worse, right? And then it did get worse, and they lost to them. This one is oh my God, things are going great. And then they got their butts whooped.
And in a way that hurts. And, there was a caller in our last segment. We'll get back to the phones in just a moment. Looks like Jake is up next, so stay right there, Jake. Where it's like, yep, we're just not there. And yes, obviously Nebraska is not there, wherever there is. But that's not my takeaway from a game like tonight. When I consider there, I'm thinking of, well, they're not on the same level of this really good team.
Yeah.
This, if you're not there, this should be a given in year 3. A given to be where Minnesota, a step back Minnesota team, where they are.
I think to a point, Josh, maybe not a given that they win the game, but a given that you don't get embarrassed. At the very least, you don't get embarrassed. Now, I'm going to try and hold back any macro Matt Rule Nebraska views just because I need to take a deep breath and fully analyze everything before I start saying anything that incriminates the entire operation and what they do Monday through Friday every single day, right? But this game specifically was just an absolute atrocity.
Yeah, demoralizing.
Absolutely.
ML tweeted me, he said, this was as bad as it gets.
And like I said, I think, and this is just, and you don't have to agree with this, just for me, just, on the macro view, I'm going to take a step back and take a minute to really think about it. But there is no way that I think or feel the same way about what is going on in the Matt Rule era after this game, because it's one thing to lose this game. It is one thing to score 0 points in the second half. It is one thing to score 6 points in the entirety of the game. It is one thing to have the line of scrimmage basically be 3 yards ahead on every single snap because you're getting embarrassed on the defensive line. That's what I don't know, man.
I couldn't agree with you more. Bigger Overreaction is brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, Mechanical Repair. Let's go to the phones. Jake is up next on Bigger Overreaction. Hello, Jake.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate the call. You guys are great. Go Big Red.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jake.
I just want to go back to that Emmett Johnson conversation. In your opinion, and shout out to the family on the deck, but in your opinion, having one of the best running backs in the nation running 13 yards on first down, what do you change in the coaching? Do you start to change the coaching to revolve around Emmett Johnson, or do you keep it around the Dylan Raiola? And I'm going to close the call so I can listen.
So is the question there, do you build the offense around Emmett Johnson, or do you try to build it around Dylan Raiola? I mean, on that drive in particular, I thought that was the Emmett Johnson drive. I thought that could have continued to be the Emmett Johnson drive because he, again, not to keep calling back to things we said off the air, but he seemed fresh. He looked good. He looked really fast. Good. He looks quick.
He looks better than he's
ever has. Running. There was a couple of plays tonight where it looked like he was one more move from being able to house it. Dylan Raiola is I mean, first of all, he's obviously he's a complicated figure in Husker.
Yes.
In the Husker ecosphere, right?
It should be more fun to have a 5-star quarterback.
And it's not. Gosh, you know what? I think you might have just put into words how I have felt, but I haven't been able to figure it out. It's not fun. It's not fun. It's not fun watching him play quarterback. It's not fun talking about him. It's not fun hearing about him.
Because it also transcends more than just what's on the field.
It does. And, now I feel bad. I'm not even answering Jake's question. I would say yes, run the ball with Emmett Johnson more.
Yeah.
But he has turned into this lightning rod of a player where it's less even about him as a quarterback and more about what he represents. And then, I think, Matt, if I look inward at myself, is that why I push back so fast at the Tiffy stuff, and I try to have fun with it rather than taking it seriously? Because I also do think it's a little bit like,
look, I think the Tiffy stuff, you're just talking about a freshman quarterback that played really well against some bad teams in the non-con. And Dylan Raiola has had some really, really good moments. That's why I push back against it. I don't think there's anything to do. I don't think there's a psychoanalysis to be done of why do you push back against the Tiffy stuff. I think it's a little silly. But I just think with Dylan, it's just he made big strides. I thought he made some big strides against Cincinnati. I thought he made some big strides against Michigan. I thought he played a really good game against Michigan.
Heck, I thought he got off the mat last week.
And when he played badly against Michigan State, I think I chalked it up to the win, because when he had the win at his back, he played great and he led the team to a victory. And you know what? There were some gutsy plays that he made against Maryland. And there was some, like, Dylan Raiola's performance against Maryland last week was like the full encompassing picture of what it's been.
It was.
And this week was truly the step back. Because I was bordering on has he taken a step back? Maybe he hasn't taken the steps forward. I thought he did from the previous performances. And I wasn't willing to go there because I saw enough good against the Terrapins to think, no, this is a step back.
0 touchdowns. First game all year without a touchdown. So he sits at 16 still, 5 interceptions. And again, man, I think that I am about to get to a point where I'm going to lose it on his high completion percentage, essentially meaning nothing. Because as you pointed out earlier, I would trade half of those sacks for incomplete passes.
Gary,
but Matt, would he? Because then his completion percentage drops. It's at 17 of 30 instead.
Gary made the point a couple of weeks ago if he wanted him to throw the ball out of bounds more, and him and I, we didn't get heated, but we definitely disagreed on that. And now I'm thinking, I'm like, man, like it's. Dude, you can't take 9 sacks, and objectively, at least 5 of them are for sure on him.
There's the one that I'm going to see in my mind for a while, where he just rolls, literally just slides right into it.
Oh, his maneuvering in the pocket was bad.
Terrible. John says, drunk callers, please. All right, let's go back to the phone.
Let's get a couple in a row.
Big Red Overreaction.
Let's rattle them off.
Brought to you by Prairie Flower Casino. Play longer, win more.
Enough of us talking. Let's go back to back to back.
Rusty, can you give us an inebriated phone call, or are you sober?
Oh, I'm completely sober, guys.
All right. Well, apologies to John, but we appreciate your phone call anyway. What's on your mind?
Well, I first want to respond to can't remember if it was the first caller or the guy that was talking about everybody contributing small amounts to the NIL. My thoughts after this embarrassing performance tonight is that, all the players should contribute to all their funds that they receive from NIL, and the coordinators should also pitch in, contribute some of their money that they make to a fund to repay all of the loyal Husker fans that we saw at the end of the game that were just, demoralized, and that they spend their hard-earned money, traveling and watching that embarrassing performance tonight. I mean, that's my response to Mr. NIL contribution guy. It's just, I get off work and I come home to watch this game, and I think, great, I'm going to be able to watch a good game and a good performance, and just get disappointed once again.
Yeah.
And again, on a national stage, we just are a laughing stock. I mean, a national stage, and we just, look like, what? I mean, it's terrible. And, I appreciate you guys taking my call, and, there's a whole lot of Husker fans out there that probably, have my same sentiments that, it's just an embarrassment. It's just an embarrassment. So,
Rusty, appreciate it.
Appreciate what you guys do.
Thank you,
Thanks, man. Sorry that you got to go off work and watch that crap show. I feel terrible for you. Let's go back to the phones. Spencer up next on Big Road Overreaction. Spencer, what's on your mind? Spencer.
See you, Spencer.
Is gone. Let's try Brad. Hello, Brad at 402-951-1620.
Oh, gentlemen, I'm so honored you'll take my call. Go Big Red. I love what you guys do.
Thank you.
Hey, this is your good friend, Brad. the president of the Greater Charlotte, North Carolina Area Chamber of Commerce.
What's going on, Brad?
Oh, I got cited last week. I almost didn't call, but like I thought I was going to lose you guys. John was kind of upset with me because like I called after a win. I'm like, hey, listen, buddy, you guys just kind of made bowl eligibility. Well, we're honored and we're certain to welcome Husker Nation to Charlotte, North Carolina in the upcoming Duke's Mayonnaise Bowl. As always, I have a vendor code, so get your pencils out, get this ready for your vacation savings. Log on. This is something we worked out with the Embassy Suite in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Embassy Suite site. Please get on the Charlotte Embassy Suite site.
Okay.
Use code 86Donnie. 86Donnie for 60% off your stay. 2 free beverages, free breakfast, and free dinner at our chop house.
Whoa! Now that's Brad. I think you might see me now.
This is a big deal. So 86 Donnie, this code is good for 2 weeks only. So like start booking right now. Book your vacation now. We want to welcome you to Charlotte, North Carolina. We love Husker Nation and look forward to seeing you. And if you want to look us up anywhere on the internet, go #football feces. We love you guys.
Thank you, Brad.
You know what?
I want the free chop house.
Do you have another code that he could have used there?
I would have used something like 9.
9?
9.
Okay, I would have used overthrow 15.
Oh man, that's mean. I would have used 9:15. I want to read a couple of texts. I know Stibbs is hanging out in the chat tonight. I'm going to end it with there's a text in here that is for him, I think specifically. It's almost like this person.
Congratulations, Stibbs.
Go Mariners.
Go Mariners.
3-2.
And I love that Stibbs was on during the deadline. He was begging for Eugenio to be traded to the Seattle Mariners.
And he hit.
And he got him, and then he hit that homer. Like, that has got to be one of the most just gratifying moments as a sports
He owns
fan,
a jersey.
to be like, I want that guy on my team. Your team actually got that guy, which never happens, by the way.
Correct.
Ever happens.
Except for Joey.
Yeah, very rarely where you're like, I want this guy on my team, and your team actually follows your advice. And then for him to have that moment, shout out Skips, man. Good for you.
Yeah, very cool. All right, so I'm going to read these texts from the 402. Funny thing is, I always LOL at the guy who says put Latif or other backup quarterbacks in, but he literally would have gashed them on the ground with how things were spaced. LOL. If quarterback play doesn't improve, there will be a game eventually where you actually have to put TJ in. 70% completion percentage, going 3-9. All right, now to be fair, they have 5 wins already, so they're not going to go 3-9.
Yeah, we don't.
He adds, and this is for Stibbs, I think, Dylan Raiola looks like Shakira out there with his sassy hip switches. All right, I'm done. Night, fellas. LOL. Matt, what do you think about that comment? Dylan Raiola looks like Shakira out there. Stibbs famously, his AIM username. Do you know what AIM is?
No.
Okay. AOL Instant Messenger. Gosh, I've never felt older.
What is that like?
It was
MySpace?
No, it was a way to you just talk to people.
Do you have
online.
a MySpace?
I did.
Yeah.
Anyway, his handle was Hots for Shakira.
Well, he must have loved that Super Bowl halftime show.
I imagine he was a
with
big
the
fan.
greatest tweet of all time from Michael Wilbon, who goes, "Oh Lordy."
All right, back to the phones. Wade is up next on Big Red Overreaction. Hello, Wade.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going terrible, man.
Yeah, it is. That was there's no words to describe what I just witnessed on my television. And not today, but tomorrow is my birthday.
Oh no.
And if I could go back in time and change my birthday to a non-football month where Nebraska couldn't ruin it for me, I would certainly do that after the last 10 years of suffering through this. But that was the Burt Gilliam who played Lyle in Blazing Saddles Game of the Year, where he comes riding up on his horse and they're supposed to be building a railroad and goes, hold it, what in the wide world of sports is going on here? I hired y'all to lay some railroad track, not dance around like a bunch of Kansas City wussies. And, except now we can say we hired you to block for the quarterback and not throw lookout blocks the entire game, which is the offensive line. In what world would your offensive line coach be in his 4th year when the offensive line is as pathetic as ours is, and he's still the offensive line coach? I'll tell you what world. The world of we just have to have Dylan Raiola. And his uncle, the offensive line coach, played a major role in getting Dylan. But he's just being a great offensive lineman in college and the pros does not make you a great offensive line coach. And he's perfect proof of that. The guy's not good. But are we going to get rid of him? Hell no. Not unless we get not unless Dylan transfers, which I don't see that happening. So I think we got 2 more years of this. Because I don't think that Dylan's going to get drafted after his junior year the way things are going now. So, it's just more mediocrity, and you can put to bed the Matt Rule to Penn State rumors unless the AD, who was the AD at Temple when he hired Rule there, is just still so in love with him that he can't, he's blinded by that, and just I don't see them hiring him unless he's just that stupid. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Thanks for the show, guys.
Thank you for the call, Wade. Think he's here for 2 more years?
Who?
Dylan?
I think in this era, everybody's year to year.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I look at it.
By the way,
look, if they go 7-5, no.
Yeah. 2 things. Sam McCune just tweeted out the 9 sacks program record for Nebraska given up. Terrible. Also, Bishop texts in. You can tell Brad kudos. I just called 86 Donnie. Got a great deal. There you go. Thank you, Brad. Big Red Overreaction brought to you by Peerless Energy Systems, your local system compressed air systems experts. Also brought to you by Prairie Flower Casino. Play longer, win more. And by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair. The title sponsors this season are Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. He is Matt McMaster. I'm Josh Peterson. Joey Colbert answering your phone calls at 402-951-1620. We will take more of those when we return. I see some familiar names and some new ones. Perhaps, though, I guess some of these names I've seen before. I just don't know if they're the same caller. We will find out when we return. Josh Peterson, Matt McMaster with you. Nebraska falls 24-6 to Minnesota on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg. Big Red Overreaction is brought to you proudly by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Also brought to you by No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. We also appreciate Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair, one of the sponsors this season. Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more. And Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems experts. Alongside Matt McMaster, I'm Josh Peterson. Utah State 30, San Jose State 25. Important to some.
Yeah, we need to
this margin
end this game.
Also, North Carolina playing better today.
Yeah, we need that. We need them to start.
You need them to start chilling out a little bit better today than they have in recent weeks. They trail Cal by 4 right now, 14 to 10.
Cal was up 7, and they got a turnover, and I thought they'd start putting on the points against them. They're only an 8.5-point favorite. So we'll see what happens.
I'm stunned that this hasn't come up on the show. I'm proud of it, though. Matt tweets in, need to rename the Nebraska Surrender Whites to Play Like Ass White.
Oh, I didn't even think of the Surrender Whites.
Yeah, and by the way, the Cal game, that has reached the half. A text comes in.
14-10?
1410, yeah. Jeff texts into the show, 402-951-1620, the J Stinnett Contracting text hotline. The floor is now 5-7. The ceiling is now 7-5.
Stop it.
You think the ceiling is 6-6? Is a little too much positivity?
No, the ceiling is still 9-3, 10-2. I look.
I thought it was 8-4.
10-2.
9-2. I don't know.
Did we watch a different team tonight?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I have to think about what the ceiling is. I have to once again. My macro takes
8-4.
That's what I had.
8-4 is the ceiling.
I don't want to get into this conversation.
Okay.
I need
to go back to the phone.
No, because I need to think about it. And I need to actually
not be in your feels
and not be emotional
of an ass whooping that they just took to Minnesota, an average team in 2025. Bad.
Okay, what happens if we have to be I just want to be a little bit more tempered, because what happens if they go and they play Northwestern and they absolutely kill Northwestern and they play a great game, which I still think based on their past performances they're still capable of doing, right? Are we just going to flip back to, it's a great team, it's just a bad week? I don't know.
They haven't done enough to earn that anymore.
Okay, so that's your opinion. I when we talk about the macro view of Nebraska football, I'm not ready. I'm not willing and ready to say this is their floor and this is their ceiling.
Okay.
I am more willing, though, to chalk this up as this was just a really bad game, and teams that just aren't great and they are not great just have these games where they are just bad and they're just terrible.
Speaking of bad, Carson Beck, I didn't realize this, threw 4 interceptions tonight as Miami
Another thing, too, it's even great I'm not trying to compare them to Ohio State, but it is a fact. Ohio State just had a terrible game against Michigan at the end of the year.
And Michigan owns them, Minnesota owns Nebraska.
There are just teams who end up winning. Go up 8-4, go 8-4, go 9-3.
Chalk Iowa as a loss. There's no way they're going to win that game.
I mean, Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois last season, right? They played.
But that wasn't a systemic loss.
No, I mean, that was they only scored 10 points.
But that's a bad loss. Tonight is systemic. Tonight is same old. Tonight is you lose to a team that owns you.
They're still 5-2, and they're still going to play some teams that they are very capable of beating. Once again, this is why I didn't want to get, because it's just.
Well, how about this? You want to do this topic instead? Jay Schultz says, I wish Josh and Matt would answer my questions. Now, I'll be honest, Jay Schultz, before I put your question on the screen, there's a lot of chats going on right now. I am not seeing everything. Should we start spending more money on baseball than football at this point? I can give an answer to that. No, don't be an idiot. All right, let's go back to the phone. That's a good topic. We got that one done quickly. Rick is up next. Hello, Rick.
Hey, fellas, how you doing?
Great.
I'm doing awful, man.
Can you hear? All right. No, I hear you. Just as disappointed as everybody. You guys said earlier who's inebriated or who's not. I think I'm probably about halfway there.
Love a good buzz. Rick, after the phone call, send a bee emoji to some of your pals, and then they're like, "What does that mean?" And you can say you're buzzed.
No doubt. Hey, just a couple of comments that I want to hit on. I'm getting older, and I'm kind of stuck in my old school ways a little bit, and I just feel that it's hard when we go up to Minnesota because I feel like they out physical us every time we're up there. And it always brings me back to the old school, the old practices, right? I would love for, some media to kind of compare a Minnesota practice this week to a Nebraska practice this week and see, who was hitting. It goes nowadays. It goes back to even to youth football, to high school football, even up to college, to where we're so infatuated with drills and footwork and all these things that we're not really playing physical, and we're not playing at game speed. And I really think that might be hampering us at Nebraska. I don't know. I feel that when kids are playing, we're practicing at full speed and we're hitting. I understand injuries. It's a physical sport and it's a hard sport. I know that. But, if you're not bringing it 100% at practice, we're just vulnerable in the games. I really feel that way. And, for Holgorsen moving forward, if I had any suggestion for him, if he's playing Dylan Raiola full speed and we're going live at practice, you might want to consider putting only 4 linemen up there and letting the defense run at him, because that's what he's seeing every day in games. So moving forward, if he could play against the 4 offensive linemen in practice, and we are successful, then it might translate into Saturdays or for tonight, Friday night. If that makes sense. I don't know. I think we just got to get a little bit more physical. I know they're getting paid millions of dollars. We don't want to sacrifice any injuries, but at the same time, man, we got to get more tough. We've got to get tougher. It's bottom line.
Thank you for the call, Rick, at 402-951-1620.
We can go to the next call.
You don't want to say it? You have a lot of takes.
No.
By the way, bigger overreaction.
I don't have a take. I literally just told you. I go, what do you think the floor and the ceiling is? I go, I don't have a take. I have to
You don't have a take about having 4 pass protectors and hit in practice all the time?
How about we tie one arm behind the backs of the wide receivers?
Bigger overreaction is brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair. Also brought to you by Prairie Flower Casino. Play longer, win more. Chance writes on YouTube, Minnesota found the infinite Big Mac glitch. That's pretty good. What did Caleb Henry say? Minnesota sacked Dylan Raiola more times than Rome was sacked.
So good.
God, that's incredible.
Sacked more times than Rome was an all-time tweet.
Incredible.
God,
incredible.
That little Caleb Henry, I'm pretty sure, majored in history, and he will
Nerd.
no, he's not, but he will just drop those just beautiful history nuggets. That was good.
Bigger Overreaction also brought to you by Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems experts. Paul says, get mad at White Monster. He is fading. Back to the phones.
I'm fine.
Back to the phone. He just didn't want to acknowledge that phone call. Back to the phones we go. Tyler is up next. Hello, Tyler.
Hey, Matt, Josh, how are you guys?
Great.
I'm doing awful.
Yeah, awful. All right. So I want to call out, first of all, like, I love you guys. I call in all the time, every week. So
Uh-oh. What are you going to say? There's a huge butt coming.
Can we stop with the conspiracy theory of Raiola trying to up his completion percentage? Can we just stop that?
I mean, but he should throw the ball out.
Yeah, dude, he should.
Right?
It's not conspiracy. Throw the ball away.
We love you. You know he should.
You guys are making it sound like, come on, this is his dad's alma mater, and you guys are making it sound like he's trying to just up his completion percentage.
But should he not throw the ball out more?
What explains it?
Times, but not
Tyler, do you know that, Tyler, before you get to your next point, do you know about the rule change that the NBA did? Do you know about what they did with the 3-point shooting at the end of quarters? Have you heard about this?
No, what is
okay.
that?
So NBA players for the last few years have been afraid of taking half-court shots at the end of a quarter because it will lower their shooting percentage. So they purposely will wait until the clock hits 0 and then they'll shoot the basketball. The NBA changed the rule, and so now if you have a half-court heave, it will not count against your shooting percentage if it is not made. Why would they do that unless they care about it? I think it's very easy to do a 1-to-1 with what is happening right now with Dylan Raiola and throwing the football.
Yeah, but you're talking about okay, if we throw a last second long throw at the last second, like in a at halftime or at the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
he's throwing.
He's not throwing. Okay, no, he's getting sacked. He's not throwing the ball. My
main question was: so are you guys saying that you don't feel like this team right now? And I'm always a holistic person. I'm not looking at all the negative stuff. I'm not,
sure.
We played bad. It was a bad game, obviously, for everybody.
Yeah.
But do you not still have some confidence more than you've had the last 15 years on a team like this? They seem like they still care more than any other team that we've had. You still don't feel like this is a team that still has it more than what we've had the last 15 years?
I do. I'll put my hand up. I do. I agree with you.
They still do look like they care more.
Look,
They really do.
They do.
But it sucked tonight. It sucked.
It did.
It was terrible.
Look, Tyler,
That's two different things.
Look, personally, I'm not fully suggesting that Dylan in the back of his head is saying, "Oh, I want my completion percentage to be higher, so I'm not going to throw the ball out of bounds." But it is a fact that he does not throw the ball out of bounds. Period.
Yeah.
Period. Not at all. Okay. And that is something that needs to change. Okay. And so when people are kind of looking at things and suggesting certain things, I mean, there just has to be an answer as to why he just refuses to throw the ball out of bounds. Because that is something that a lot of quarterbacks do.
We've got to manage it, though. We've got to manage that. We've got to figure out a way to manage the way that he plays, though.
Okay, sure. You take the good with the bad. I agree with that. But there were just moments and opportunities where it's just like, man, you have nothing. Don't force anything. Throw the ball out of bounds. Live live another day. Fight to live another day and go ahead and give yourself another opportunity to not be super behind the sticks. They were behind the sticks so many times tonight. So many times tonight. And it was in part because he thought that every play, I have to make a big play. I have to make a play. I have to some of the best quarterbacks in the game. I mean, Tom Brady's talked about sometimes you just got to be like, you know what? That wasn't the right play against the right coverage. We're just going to live to fight another day. And he does not do that at all. And that for whatever reason it is,
it's bad.
For whatever reason it is, he has to change that.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what sucked too tonight was his checkdowns even sucked. Like even his little checkdowns, like his short passes even kind of sucked. So it was bad. But don't do no conspiracy theories, please.
It's not conspiracy. It's just openly wondering if he wants his completion percentage to be high. He has very high completion percentage.
He's taken the most sacks in the country this year.
Yeah. I'd rather fewer sacks and a lower completion percentage.
Yeah,
I think it'd be okay. That's a solid take.
I'm not in the head of Dylan Raiola. I'm not saying he doesn't take sacks. I'm just personally me. I'm not saying that he's doing that because he doesn't want his completion percentage to be as high. But at the same time,
I'll openly wonder about it.
I'll wonder about it.
I definitely wonder about it.
And I'll be like, okay, man, you have to do it at least a couple of times. He doesn't do it at all. Did he do it once tonight? Did you do it once?
I don't think so.
Off the top of my head, I cannot tell you that he literally stepped back, said, you know what, I don't have anything. I'm going to check it out of bounds. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Yeah, man, I think that might be the most disappointed the chat has been with a phone call all night long. This is Big Overreaction brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Also brought to you by No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. Let's see. It is Jeff in Omaha. Jeff in Omaha. What's going on, man?
So I haven't heard anybody say this tonight, but Rule said in his press conference this week that we need a $40 million roster.
Yep.
And we just got the complete break speed off of us by Minnesota. And I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, but that's straight to the point. That's where we're at.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if that meant, I don't know. Let's just, you know what? Zach is up next. Zach, hello. We talked about it earlier. We thought that's an asinine opinion right now. Zach, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
I'm doing terribly.
Yeah. I was at the game. I live in Minnesota.
Oh, nice.
I know that a lot of callers have been, and you guys have been saying like, oh yeah, Dylan's been holding the ball too long, which a few plays I agree with. But when I was watching the game, these receivers, they're making their breaks and he's already moving the pocket. Like he's unable to throw the ball right when they're making their breaks to try to get open. So the offensive line obviously played really bad, in my opinion. But from living here and talking to like these Minnesota folks, Minnesota's secondary is elite. Just looking at their schedule, like they're kind of in the same boat as us. They played a couple FCS teams. They played Cal, Rutgers, Ohio State. Obviously dropped the dud because they're the best team in the country. Purdue, and then us. Like we're kind of like in the same boat. They have our number. Whenever we travel Minnesota, like this is 6 games in a row that we've lost to them. And I get the like the overreaction piece of this, but they just outplayed us.
Well,
I mean, We just had it. We had a bad game, but to say that we're not really there yet, we did not have a lot of time to throw the ball, and I guess what I'm trying to say is the game plan. I have no idea what our game plan was for the game.
Okay. Yeah.
Like what were we trying to do?
I can't answer.
Do you know?
They scored 6 points. I
Thank you,
have no
Zach.
clue.
It was terrible.
It was I don't even know what. I think he's right. Now, I do think that the O-line protected better than maybe the stat line would suggest. I don't think they protected as if they gave up 9 sacks. There were multiple times where he had plenty of time.
He ran right into it.
I will always go back because I think Tom Moore's. I love him. 1, 2, 3, throw the MFR away. Like that is like that is one of the best quarterback gurus. Incredible OC.
Yeah, for those who don't know, he was Peyton Manning's OC.
Peyton Manning's OC. Now he's working with Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay. Like that's what he lives.
Interesting.
He has forgotten more football than I will ever know. And he always says 1, 2, 3, throw that ball. Like Dylan does not do that.
Big Pete says, "Why can't we run crossing routes like Minnesota?"
I
from your lips to God's ears, Big Pete.
Where was the creative extension of the run plays?
A couple people have asked where was
Ja'Cory
Barney?
Where was the short yardage stuff?
Where was Ja'Cory Barney?
Dana Holgorsen was absolutely in his bag. I just want to know why that wasn't the case, right?
Yeah.
And it's just frustrating when you see some things from this team that you're really, really encouraged by, and then they don't show that in the next game, in a very big game. And that's what really frustrates me.
Bigger and Overreaction is brought to you by Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems experts. Also brought to you by Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more, and by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair. One more call in this segment. We'll go to break. Joe in Vegas, one of our old friends. Hello, Joe.
Good evening, gentlemen. Now, guys, first of all, I can think of no better 2 men on the planet right now to be hosting Big Red Overreaction right now, other than Mr. Football himself. And Captain, I leave energy drinks in the bathroom and then get fooled about it in the morning all day long.
Thanks, brother.
A very lengthy nickname, but we like it.
Mick Fooler.
Mick Fooler, yes. Guys, you're focused on all the wrong things tonight.
Oh.
Let me share with you some wisdom. So tonight officially ends the Matt Rule, the Penn State conversation.
Probably.
Because Mr. Football, Matty McFooler, tonight listen to Mr. Football. If we need to win next week, because I see a November schedule where we're gonna get smoked by USC. We're going to lose to UCLA because I'm going to that game, and we never win when I'm in the stadium.
Oh, no.
Penn State will now learn how to hand off to a running back, and we won't stop that. And we know that Iowa will just run the ball, punt the ball, and wait for us to do something stupid, and we'll lose that game. Now, here is the things that you need to be worried. Here's the things that you should be focused on. Nebraska tonight could have been apparently, according to Adam Character, on his little thing here on X, Nebraska, 18% of their offensive plays ended in a sack. It could have been 20. So there's some positivity right there. Second thing, after Notre Dame beats USC tomorrow, you're going to get your Nebraska-USC night game because no one on God's green earth is going to want to watch Nebraska play in the afternoon. Here's another little fun fact, gentlemen, that I don't know you're aware of. Are you now aware that when Nebraska hits 5 wins under Matt Rule, Nebraska is now 1-10?
Yes.
So, and then the other guy who was sitting there saying, the idiot who said he was half drunk and was sitting there saying that the offensive line needs to develop. You can't develop what already sucks. You have to live with what you got. I don't think the defensive line is that bad. I just think they're young. I think in a couple years, after you put some more weight on them, I actually think they could be pretty good. They only got, the reason they look so bad in the second half is because, they couldn't complete a pass or get a first down. And I'm not even going to blame the surrender white.
There it is.
We just know that they're now, in the last 11 games, they're 3-8. And now we will have memes with Nebraska having pink in those uniforms. And I'm sure we will see that, moving forward. And last but not least, I wanted to save the best thing for last. If Nebraska can win next week, and if UCF can win 3 more games starting tomorrow with West Virginia, we're all going to get our dream bowl scenario in Phoenix. Scott Frost versus Matt Rule, UCLA, or UFC going 6-6 versus 7-5 Nebraska. How great would that be? And then the game will be on during unsportsmanlike conduct. So that way John and Mr. Football can enjoy it. And then, Matt, you can sit there in the morning with Gary and just be angry at the fact that the top we're going to go now, if we get lucky, is going to be 7-5. But that's okay, because 7-5 is still better than 7-6. And like I said, the other guy that was complaining about us, getting boat raced tonight, well, that was only with a $20 million salary for the roster. Can you imagine how much more we would have stunk if we only paid $25 million? And we still haven't had any linemen that can block to save their lives.
Thank you, Joe.
That's all I got, boys.
Appreciate
Have a
it, man.
wonderful evening. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, I'm gonna get hammered for this. I don't care. I want to bring a little bit. I don't want to say sanity, but just a little bit of positivity. Okay,
feel free.
We walked into this game tonight feeling really good about Nebraska. Okay,
Oops. I said they would win by 17.
You thought they'd win by 17. I thought they'd win by 10. Okay,
yikes.
And that got flipped on its head tonight.
Very much so.
And at one point, Penn State was up 7 against Oregon. Okay, and then they end up losing to UCLA, Northwestern. That got flipped on its head. Right?
I'm about to say Nebraska's going to lose to Northwestern
No.
and UCLA, and Matt
What
Rule's going to get
what
fired.
I'm just trying to tell you is this: like, things can flip and things can change, and things like just because it's one thing one week doesn't mean it's going to be the same thing the next week. We are very much in this era of college football on a week-to-week basis. I think it is very easy. It is very easy to say, well, what Northwestern does well is run the ball and stop the run. And UCLA looks really, really good. And
you're not making me feel better.
Penn State's going to get the interim coach boost. And USC could end up beating Notre Dame and really, really good. And man, Iowa does all the things that Nebraska doesn't do well. Those are 5 losses. They're going to go 5-7. It's very easy after tonight's performance to do that. I'm going to tell you right now, that's not going to happen. Okay, it's just not going to happen. That's not how this works. At some point, Nebraska this season will probably have a performance where they play much better than you think they're going to, because that's just where we are. Okay, this is how these things work. So I know it's very easy right now after this ass kicking to say, wow, they're going to go 7-5 and everything that we thought about the team a couple weeks before isn't true. And man, this is terrible. And you're fine to think that. You're fine to be negative and you're fine to be very, very sad about it. I just want to tell you that just because of what happened tonight does not mean that Nebraska is going to get their butts whooped and play the same way every single week. That's why you have practices. That's why you have coaches. That's why you have film. That's why you have self-reflection. Okay? So, yes, it sucked. It was tough. It was bad.
It was horrible.
But it ain't the end.
Okay.
It ain't the end.
5 more games.
I just want to say that.
5 more games, maybe 6. Joe writes, Gopher fan here. I love tuning in when you lose. Small request. Can you guys give us just a little credit? 6 in a row, and you never mention us. You probably should. Shout out Minnesota. This is not the best team of the winning streak, in my opinion. The best team of the winning streak is actually the first one, 2019. That team went 11-2, multiple NFLers on the roster. Thought they had a better quarterback back then. I thought they certainly had better receivers. I thought that was a better team. And this win, maybe not as impressive in terms of the scoreboard, but maybe more impressive knowing what I know now about the 2019 god-awful Nebraska team. This one was more impressive. So congratulations to PJ Fleck for being the coach that Husker fans hate, but would absolutely love if he was their guy, because he rallies them and he gets them off the mat each and every week. And in situations like this, where I watched the Purdue game, they looked bad. And 1 week later, they out physical, they outplayed, they dominated Nebraska, and their freshman quarterback, we talked about that 98-yard drive. How did it finish? With that great over-the-top pass into the end zone.
He made the throw that Dylan didn't.
Bingo. That was a great throw. Bigger Overreaction is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Also brought to you by No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. Those are the title sponsors of BROR this season. Very much appreciate them. Also appreciate supporting sponsors like Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair, Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more, and Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems expert. Still more phone calls on the Jay Stinnett Contracting Hotline when we return. Let's see, Andy, Ross, Jeremy, Vince, and Mike. Stay there. We will get to you when we return. Josh Peterson, Matt McMaster. The Huskers fall 24-6 tonight. We'll talk about it some more next on 1620 The Zone. Bigger Overreaction with Josh Peterson and Matt McMaster, not to mention Joey Colbert producing, is brought to you by Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems experts. Also by Prairie Flower Casino. Play longer, win more. Josh Peterson, Matt McMaster. We have Joey. We have commenters, including the guy who keeps asking me, I have not explained why Nebraska shouldn't spend more money on NIL.
Explain it.
On baseball instead of football. Because I don't care. Why would you do that? Are you a moron, Schultz? I know that you're just trolling me and trying to get a reaction. Well, it's 12 a.m. and I'm loopy, so you're getting it from me. Congrats. That'd be the dumbest crap that I've ever heard of. Why? Let's spend more money. Why am I responding? Also, we're brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally, and by No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life.
I can't wait for my tea time tomorrow.
What time is that at?
8:05.
Oh my gosh, Matt, that's in 8 hours and 13 minutes.
I wake up at 4 a.m. every day.
I know, but tomorrow should be your sleepy day.
I know, but I'm going to play golf.
You're going to play golf.
Great. God. But do you know what we're going to do? The entire time we're golfing, we're going to be talking about this game.
Yep. I'm going to do a podcast, and then I'm just going to sit on my couch.
That's how you blow the steam.
That's how you blow your steam. Hit that golf ball.
I'm
You're gonna
bad at
top the
golf,
first-
though, so I'm just going to get more mad.
You're going to top your first tee shot.
Well, we
your
get
drive.
we get breakfast balls.
Yeah, but you're going to top that one, too. No offense. Jeremy's up next. Hello, Jeremy. You're on Big Red Overreaction. Jeremy? Jeremy is gone. Big Red Overreaction. You're on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg. What about Ross? Hello, Ross.
Hello, gentlemen. Hey, first thing I want to say is thank you so much for letting us all vent when we watch our team play like this. I got a term for this. It's called clown football. I don't know why we cannot block or tackle. Do we teach that in Lincoln? And I'll tell you, I just wonder, like, if we spend $50 million on players, will we be able to teach them to block and tackle, or will they just come here and get worse like it seems have been for years? And the other thing I want to say is, like, Dana, what was your plan in this game? Why did you not come out and run EJ? Like, what happened there? You guys could probably tell us how many times EJ got the ball. I know he got it a lot there in trash time after we were already beat, but I'm just wondering what happened with this stuff. Just Husker fans, man, we're all bleeding. I'm bleeding up here in the West Hills of Council Bluffs, and we just don't know what's going on. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Wow. Matt?
I don't disagree with anything he said.
What did he call it? Clown football.
I thought it was crown football, like a Nebraska ball reference.
I thought it was clown. What did you think, Joey? Clown or crown? Joey was editing things. He probably missed it.
Either way,
I was taking phone
football.
calls too.
He was taking phone calls. Joey's got so many things to do over there. Gosh, would you respect him a little bit more, please?
I'm
Matt?
sorry.
Thank
I'm so
you.
mean.
Apologize to him again.
No, I agree with a lot that he said.
Clown.
I mean,
Mike says clown.
They are.
Kenneth said he said goms.
They just look. The bottom fell out, and they never fixed it, and it was just an absolute cascading of mistake after mistake, and just incompetence on offense and lack of tackling on defense. And it's just they were wounded, and they just never fixed it, and they never put salt on the wound. They never they never healed themselves. And then they just kept letting it get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse.
Bobby in Branson is triggered about you saying something about Donovan Raiola. Why don't you want to fire Donovan Raiola?
Did I say that today?
I don't know. He says, I want to ask McMaster what argument he could still have to not fire Donovan Raiola. I know the Michigan game, he was bullish on that talk and said he's made improvements in the 4 years he's been here. Exactly what improvements has he made from this O-line from where he arrived?
Well,
I'm not trying to be a D or sarcastic. I genuinely want to know.
So first off, the O-line when he took it over in 2022 was way worse than this offensive line. Okay. Secondly, I don't think that the offensive line today played nearly as bad as it's being made out to be, because I think the quarterback was doing the O-line a disservice with holding onto the football too long.
Yeah.
I think last week against Maryland, against a team that had 19 sacks, played really, really well. I mean, they ran the football down their throats. They protected Dillon relatively well, and they made improvements. And in the history of Donovan Raiola being the coach of the offensive line, the O-line has gotten better as the season has gone on. Is it frustrating that it's still not a strength of the team? Absolutely. Is it frustrating that they're not good out the gate? Absolutely. Are there reasons to question the job that he's done? Yeah, I'm not denying that, but I don't also think it's this cascading absolute failure. He's the worst coach of all time. You have to get rid of him. If there was an upgrade to be made at offensive line coach, sure. Right. If there was a Mike Eckler of O-line.
I was just going to say, isn't that the frustrating part is the special teams has flipped overnight.
Yeah,
And it's like, why can't the offensive line do it? Now,
So-
it's like so different, right? Because
Sure.
there are only so many bodies of that size, that skill, that
Yeah.
athleticism. But I get it. I thought they'd be better this year too, and it's really disappointing.
It has been, and I'm not denying that. I'm not saying I am not feeding you. I'm not selling you ice, right? Like I'm not
Stick to sports, please.
Sorry, but I'm not trying to convince you of something that obviously isn't true. Like obviously this offensive line has not played well.
Yeah.
Obviously there's a lot of room.
Kenneth says your
improvement.
unit can't give up 9 sacks and keep your job.
But I don't think they gave up 9 sacks.
It's so funny. The offensive line versus Dillon stuff, like the Dillon defenders are like the offensive line's trash. The offensive line, not defenders. I don't think you're a defender, but you're like, did you see Dillon? Like he stepped into a lot of those. So You know,
He did step into it.
He did. Yeah. Thank you, Chance. Chance got my joke. I appreciate you, Chance. Bigley writes, Andy Reid is the Antichrist. Don't know what that has to do with the game tonight. Let's go back to the phones. Vince is up next on Big Red Overreaction. Hello, Vince.
Hey guys. So tonight, I was not able to watch the game, so I had to listen to the radio. And I am just so frustrated because listening to it, I don't even want to watch replays. I don't even want to watch the Big 60 and 10. I don't even want to watch anything because I was so upset of hearing the sack, just disappointing and downs and third downs. But my question is, and I know at least 3 games, maybe correct me, what happens in the third quarter? Why are we not able to come out in the second half, the third quarter, and get some points? It's like, what do we do in the third quarter? Just wait for the fourth quarter? Because fourth quarters have been really great. And this game, I actually was like, okay, fourth quarter, we've come back, we've made it happen. But I didn't even believe in that in this game because of what was going on. Where is the third quarter scoring? What are we doing? Where's the adjustments? Why can't we score in the third quarter and get some points? And I mean, am I wrong? I mean, what is going on? And I'm just the sack. It's like, you think you would have the ability in practice to train, to get rid of the ball, Raiola. You gotta play smart. I mean, we're how many games in? This isn't like third game. Okay, we'll work on that. I am just so disappointed in tonight, and not even watching the game, just listening to it on the radio and hearing the play-by-play and why this happened. This tonight sucked, and to lose against Minnesota again, a lot of times we give it away, which we have in the past, because we should have won. But tonight, they took this game from us. They played their butts off and beat us.
Vince, thanks for the call, man. Third quarter, Nebraska, so they gained 3 yards on their first play, 5 yards on their second play. Then they have that real nice pass by Dylan Raiola. You can make an argument. Maybe it was the nicest play because the pass rush is coming, floats it over to Emmett Johnson, and then he scoots, picks up 12. What happens the next play? 12-yard gain. Boom. They are suddenly in Minnesota territory. They've ran 4 plays. They have had successful gains on half of them. And no, on 3 quarters of them. Wow, that was a really nice drive. And then it was. And then the 1-yard pass to Ja'Cory that you mentioned, the deep ball that he missed to Dane Key, and then he sacked. And then Minnesota starts their drive with 11:19 to go in the quarter. And when Nebraska touches it next, there is 2:32 left. Why did Nebraska not have a good third quarter on offense? Well, they missed on a chance for a touchdown to Dane Key, and then they didn't get the ball back until the quarter was over. And they actually had the ball going. Never mind. They gave it back to Minnesota a few plays later. So they got it right at the end of the half.
That 98-yard drive is inexcusable.
A joke.
No team.
A joke.
No team.
A joke.
That you are 7.5-point favorites against should have a 98-yard drive in 14 plays.
When it's 7-6. Remember, the score at the time was 7-6.
Absolutely bully you to the point where you are losing in the third quarter and you have to take a timeout to give your guys a rest because they're absolutely mauling you up front.
Think about, they had to waste a timeout because they were tired. Think if they would have needed that
in the third quarter.
In the third quarter. That's true. It's not even the fourth.
It's not even the fourth.
My God. It's not even the first. Big Red Overreaction brought to you by Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems experts. Let's see. Mike has been waiting on hold the longest. Hello, Mike.
Good evening, fellas. First and foremost, as I was on hold, I just want to say, Matt, I appreciate the fact that you want to shoot rainbows and sunshine up everybody's backside about where Nebraska's program is.
Come on, I've been fair,
or where it could be. But I'm going to tell you, I called in after the Michigan game, and this isn't a one-off kind of thing where yes, they had a bad game, but to say that the offensive line didn't play good tonight or the defensive line didn't play good tonight is just a kind of a fabrication. I called in after the Michigan game because of those two things. The offensive line play was terrible against Michigan. The defensive line play was terrible against Michigan. And when I called in that day, I said the problem ever since Nebraska has moved in to the Big Ten is they haven't accepted the fact that they need to get big hosses up front on both sides of the ball. And they right now, as it stands and as it stood a couple of weeks ago, they don't have that Ty Robinson or that Nash
You're right.
Mocker on the defensive line, and there's no help coming for that for the rest of the year. That what you saw tonight with Michigan or with Minnesota, what you saw a couple of weeks ago with Michigan, I think they said in last week's telecast that Michigan does or Maryland doesn't run the ball. They ran the ball on us. It's going to be a problem for the rest of the year. So yeah, when you get into November and it's Iowa's going to run, punt, punt, and they're going to beat us 10-3. I mean, you can see that coming down the road. They're more physical on the offensive line. They're more physical on the defensive line. And Nebraska has not out-physicaled anybody.
No, they haven't.
On the offensive line or the defensive line since they joined the Big Ten. They haven't had a dominant defensive line since the Sioux era, and they haven't had a dominant offensive line since the 90s. And we're still waiting on this stuff. They can bring in all the skill position players that they want and have all the running backs and wide receivers that run 4-3 and go do all this. But until you can do what Minnesota did tonight, which was if you go back and watch that film, and I was watching it every snap, you watch the Minnesota offensive line come off the line of scrimmage, and our guys are 3 yards downfield before the running backs even getting touched. Until Nebraska can dominate the offensive and defensive lines, they're not going to be any kind of contender or anything.
I couldn't agree more.
Thanks for the call, Mike, at 402-951-1620.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah,
they got to be better.
Yeah,
they were awful on the D line tonight. They were awful. They were terrible. And by the way, they have some guys who are big. They have some large humans. It really doesn't have anything to do with that. And you know what? We haven't talked about the linebackers. They didn't play well either. Say that.
Rick says, brokenhearted after today's game. I just don't understand some things. Agree with you both on some of your comments on why we can't throw crossing patterns now, why our defensive backs leave everybody 5 yards open before they catch the ball when other teams can cover. If Dylan is having trouble scrambling, why don't we put TJ in and see what we can do? He has a great arm and he's got some good legs. The other thing, we definitely need some more talent on both sides of the ball in the trenches.
I just think the whole like the offensive line is bad and the offensive line is terrible and you should have fired Donovan Raiola, but then you want to put TJ Lateef in and you want to make your offense essentially one-dimensional. Like, what is it? Is it you can't do that. You can't have a bad offensive line and then say, hey, we're going to put in a quarterback that is much worse at throwing the ball.
Yeah.
I don't see them at practice. I'm going to go and take a guess, though, that Dylan Raiola is the better thrower of the football than TJ Lateef is, right?
Yeah.
Because if that weren't the case, then Dylan Raiola.
They obviously think the
game.
trade of the legless, Dylan is better than the arm.
But then you're going to have, I just want to put this in football terms. Then you're going to have the defense stack the box more and be more aggressive on the run and call more things that are going to be downhill for them. And then you're going up against a bad offensive line, according to them.
Offense has a lot of pressure points right now, is what you're saying. Offense has a lot of pressure points. Bigger Overreaction brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair. Also brought to you by Prairie Flower Casino. Play longer, win more. Andy up next. Hello, Andy. How are you? Welcome to Bigger Overreaction. Andy is gone. Let's try Bobby next here on Bigger at Overreaction. Good evening, Bobby. Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning, gentlemen. Hey, I just wanted to say that was my text you read earlier to McMaster. I wasn't triggered, dude. I'm genuinely wanting to know, man.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. You're fine. I'm just upset, and
He's got a tea time in 8 hours.
No, I know what you're saying. I mean, I have a question for you. I mean, do you think my arguments were? I mean, what do you think of what I said? I mean,
yeah. Well, honestly, I'm still not understanding the improvements.
Sure.
Maybe I'm just forgetting. Maybe it's just on my own from how bad that actually was before Donovan got there. But I've really been trying to search and see where have they gotten better at. I mean, those tackles are getting their butts kicked, man. I'm not really
you're right.
How much of the guards, but the tackle play, like, I mean, have we ever given up this many sacks in a season? I mean, has it been this bad?
Yeah.
After 6 games?
Look,
and maybe I'm just selective memory. I don't know,
Sure.
but
look, Bobby.
I
I love the points you're giving. I think you're right in this regard. I don't think they're good enough for how long he's been.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Then I agree with that. And it's not that I want him fired. I would love for Donovan Raiola to be the greatest line coach ever and have this whole Raiola trifecta and the Husker thing. That's what I want. I want Rule to be the great coach that brings us back. I want all that. I don't want anyone to have to go, but at some point you're seeing this same stuff week after week. And this line, the physicality, man, I even had a sick feeling in my stomach when they first came out and this game started before anything kicked off. And I saw those Minnesota guys and just something about it looked. I was like, these guys look like bigger bears than what we got on our line.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a hard night.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think that all year so far or going into this game. But as soon as I saw those guys take the field, I was like, I don't know if we're going to be physical enough to handle these guys. And I haven't had that feeling that much this year, and sure enough, it played out just what I was feeling before kickoff. And I'm just, the physicality overall, I mean, we can say offensive line, defensive line, because that's the most glaring thing. But I just think overall physicality, we don't have it. And why not? Why don't we have it? $40 million ain't going to buy physicality. You know, so
that's a good point, Bobby.
I don't know where to go with it or what to say, like, and what kind of hope to have that. I mean, that this isn't going to play out like last year when we lost to Illinois after starting out 5-1. What game are we guaranteed the rest of the year that we know we're going to be favored and that we can win? Honestly, and I want to win them all, but maybe Northwestern. But are we guaranteed Northwestern?
No, I mean, Bobby, you'll be favored next week. And hey, Bobby, I appreciate the call, by the way. Everyone loves your voice.
Call,
you have a great voice. Shout out, Bobby. They'll be favored next week against Northwestern. No guarantee though. They're favored this week. They'll be favored next week. They'll probably be favored on the road against UCLA. Probably. I'm saying probably. Don't know for sure.
I don't know.
Probably dogs against USC. Probably dogs on the road. I know Penn State sucks, but they'll probably be dogs on the road. And then I mean, I don't know. Iowa, they were 3-8 going into the Iowa game in 21, and they were favored. So I have no idea. I mean, that's always a toss up, and they'll just lose in a horrifying way, like they always do. So they'll probably be favored once for sure, maybe twice. Is what I would guess.
I'm looking
guaranteed nothing.
I'm looking at this here.
Nothing.
So 34. So they had 9 sacks, right?
Yes.
So that's 34 pass attempts, and then he had a couple of scrambles, right?
Yeah.
So he had 4 more rushing attempts. Was there a for sure he was trying to run the ball? Like he didn't pull his own read or anything. So we can say on his,
how many dropbacks is that?
So 38.
Okay.
16 rushes.
Oh. How about that? Add those numbers together. What do you get? 54.
54 plays.
Yikes.
38 passes.
54
plays. I just can't. Man, I don't know, man. You get 54 plays and you throw the ball 38 times in a game where for the majority of it, you were only down by 1 score.
That is the wild part. Like, I don't think
it's not as if they were playing behind 2 scores the entire game.
The final score is and is not indicative of what happened tonight. Like it's like a perfect encapsulation of how the game felt almost the entire time, even though most of the game it was within 1 score. It was 1 score deep into the 4th quarter. And yet it never felt that way. You know, when they went up 14-6, it really did feel like the game was over.
They were Minnesota was up 7-6, marching the ball down the field on that 98-yard drive, and it felt like Nebraska was down 10.
Correct. It does. Like, they're about to go up 17.
You know what that explains to me? It explains to me the advantage that Minnesota had physically. The fact that they were only 1 point, and yet the lead felt so much bigger because how they were just enforcing their will on the team. I mean, look, I've tried to be a little bit more positive, okay? But there are just some things that you frankly cannot look past. You cannot look past the fact that they played a Minnesota team that nearly lost to Purdue, nearly lost to Rutgers, lost to California, got their butts beat by Ohio State, and that team, who is nowhere near the level of where they've been in the past, just absolutely bullied.
They dog walked you.
Embarrassing.
Big Overreaction is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Also brought to you by No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. The title sponsors this year of Big Overreaction. Also brought to you by Prairie Flower Casino. Play longer, win more. And by Peerless Energy Systems. your compressed air systems experts. Let's take one more phone call. We'll go to break, come back and wrap it up. James is up on the Jay Stinnett Contracting Hotline. Hello, James.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Yo.
Meh.
So here's my question: Who's the one team in the top 10 that you never expected to see this year?
This year in the top 10?
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, maybe Texas A&M. I don't know.
Texas Tech. That's my outlier.
Okay.
So all I do is listen to Red Dirt music, and it all comes out of West Texas, and all I hear is West Texas football.
Yeah.
And the amount of money that they spent.
Oh, yeah.
$28 million.
A lot of money.
So tell me, how does a team like Texas Tech and their resources compare to Lincoln, and they're in the top 10 right now, and we can't even sniff anything what they're doing right now. So tell me, how do we get to that point onto a level where Texas Tech is right now?
Well,
to me, that's dumbfounding.
No, well, James, they got oil money. So they have this big thing of oil, and they also have a billionaire who is giving them they're giving them millions of dollars. So like they actually have two things that Nebraska doesn't have. They have a billionaire who's willing to pony up, and they have oil.
So $28 million is what was spent at Texas Tech. How much did we spend this year on this roster?
My guess would be 20.
Yeah. So I don't it's dumbfounding to me how Texas Tech can go from nothing to top 10, number 7 team in the country.
They have a loaded roster. They paid very well over the offseason. They overpaid in some cases for players because they wanted them on the roster.
So do you think it's all players, or do you think it's coaching?
I think they have a good coach in Joey McGuire, but they got dudes. They got some dudes that their lines of scrimmage are ridiculous. Like they put Utah in a freaking blender. They put Kansas in a blender last week. Nebraska ain't putting nobody in blenders.
They went to Salt Lake and throttled.
Yeah, that fourth quarter they outscored them 21-0.
Yeah, I just don't get it. How a team like Lubbock can do that and Lincoln can't figure it out. It's just depressing to me.
All right, James, thanks for the call. I mean, maybe some oil. Maybe some oil. Joey, can you get us some oil?
I can make the trip down to Texas.
All right. Well, we'll see if we can get some oil. Big Red Overreaction brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Also brought to you by No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. All right. Jordan, Mike, Richie, and Chris, our final 4 callers. We will come back. We will take those calls. We will send you into Saturday morning and get Matt ready for some golf.
Hell yeah. I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great round.
I hope you have a good time.
I was a little late here because I was getting that cigar.
Hope you have a good time. All right. We'll come back, wrap up the show next on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg. Bigger Overreaction brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Also brought to you by the other title sponsor, Bigger Overreaction this season. No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. We also appreciate Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair. Prairie Flower Casino. Play longer, win more. I know Matt will be there on Sunday morning. And Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems experts. All right, we promised 4 more calls. And we begin with Richie, as John Bishop would say, in Bellevue. Hello, Richie.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Richie.
Hey, listen. I hate to blame people for anything, but I think this is a coaching management problem. And if one player in any position can't get it done, you put a number 2 player and tell them to get it done. And that includes any position at all, And Rio, he may be a relative and all that kind of stuff, but it has no meaning regarding playability. And if the guy can't do it first half, then take him out and let him rest and think about it and put in number 2. Same thing, down the line, the O-line, they can't even move laterally with the opposing player and stay with that player and blocking him out so the quarterback can do something. And same thing with the defensive line. They don't have that mental aggressiveness to fight every move they make and every player they oppose. And that's, you have to have a mental aggressiveness and determination to knock that guy out of his position and on the ground, if at all possible, which it is possible. But physically, I think the physical development program for Nebraska has gone to by the west side. If I was a coach and I had responsibility to develop these guys, they'd be working their butts off in the weight room, physically, not just lifting weights, but strengthening and mental strength and all those ingredients to knock that defense off, knock that opposing team out. No quarterback's any good if they don't have an offensive line to block from.
Amen to that.
And efficiently, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And these guys, the Grand Minnesota and all this, whatever other team it is, they played well, but we look like third grade high school to me, and for us not to get anything but 2 field goals is a real lack of production, which we all know already. I don't have to emphasize that. But anyway,
thanks,
I think
Richie.
coaching has a big part of this problem.
Couldn't agree with you
this week.
Take care, Richie. Okay, third grade high school sent me. Absolutely sent me. Let's just go back to the phone, shall we?
Nice deal.
Also, I'll say this. Benching a quarterback is really difficult because it's not just benching a tackle.
Yeah,
there's a lot that goes into it, right?
The whole thing too of let him see the game from the sidelines. It's like, what if you put the backup in there and then he scores? Like, what do you do? You don't put the starter back out there. It doesn't. But I look, he was right in the fact that they got to be more physical and they got to be more aggressive.
100%.
Those are some big problems.
100%. Steve says total Goms guy. Yeah, I should have asked him if he's.
What does that even mean? Everybody's been talking about
Goms.
that. I have no idea.
Chris, do you know about Goms? What's going on? Uh-oh. Chris gone?
See you, Chris.
All right, Chris is gone. And let's see if Jordan knows about Goms. Jordan, you know about Goms?
I have no idea what GOM stands for. I'm kind of curious as well.
It means go M's. Goms. Go M's. Anyway, your thoughts on the game tonight, Jordan? The football game, not the baseball game.
Well, I'm just curious. What do we need to do to get over this hump? It seems like it's the same story, just a different day. At this point, it's like, I'd rather bring back Scott Frost.
Oh, God.
Because he was Nebraska.
Let's settle down, Jordan. Come on, man. They were going 3-9 with Scott Frost.
No way.
Hey.
Yeah.
At least Scott Frost was in.
No.
And not.
Dude, that guy was so Jordan. That guy was so he was so checked out, man. Come on, Jordan. Be better.
Hey, listen. We lost to Minnesota for what? Is this the 6th straight time?
1921.
I mean, at what point do we change? I'm just trying to figure out what do we need to do to change to get over that hump to where when we play Minnesota, it's just a guaranteed win. There's no reason we shouldn't be winning against Minnesota.
Thanks for the call, Jordan.
The only teams that are getting guaranteed wins against Minnesota are the ones who are making
Ohio State.
Yeah, who are making national championships.
Nebraska's not one of those teams anymore.
Conference.
But Frost ain't the answer. Come on, bro.
There's maybe 3 teams in the Big Ten.
Did we just get
4
punked?
Teams in the Big Ten that are like every single year you're for sure going to beat Minnesota. Minnesota over the last couple of years has been a solid competitive Big Ten football team. So that's not a you want to beat Minnesota, you have to be more physical. And the 2 games that Nebraska has lost this year are the games that they have been out physicaled in. They were out physicaled against Michigan. They were out physicaled tonight. You have to be a better, more physical football team. It's been 3 years. You're in year 3 now. That's yet to happen. That is disappointing.
Final call. It is Mike. Hello, Mike.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yo.
You guys doing good?
No, not really.
Yeah, me either. I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna be the Tiffy tonight.
Might as well.
That's fine.
I don't understand how you can keep rolling with this dude that takes sack after sack after sack, and it's like, how do you fix that?
It's a great
Maybe
point.
you change the route trees. Maybe you do something. But the number one thing to me is a dude that can run and throw. And I couldn't believe with like 3:22 or whatever and a minute left, how do you not at least give the guy a chance to cook? I mean, the game's over. At this point, I'm just kind of...
Oh, you're saying put him in. Why didn't they put him on the last drive of the game?
Yeah, or the second to last drive even. The game's over. He's going to transfer. He's gone. And it's just sad.
It's sad.
And that's all I got. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Mike. Look, I think I am losing ground, on the, hold the line. Like, what? I don't know what. Like, then, do I think it would be great? No, I think there would be many problems. And then people would say, put in Gramstad, right? Because that's what would happen. But
Davila.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah, the other guy, the guy for Purdue. But
Longville.
He gets sacked all the time. Like, I have nothing to say. I don't gotta come back.
Oh, just say it.
What?
The argument against the Tiffys have been a little bit harder as of late.
It has.
Nebraska,
So,
because Dylan keeps
get to a
taking
point where you
sacks.
just say, fine, do it. I don't care. Do it. I don't think it's going to work out well. They're not going to do that. For the record, they're not going to do that.
Or just run the ball with Emmett Johnson.
Or run the ball with Emmett Johnson.
How about that?
Yeah, run the ball with Emmett Johnson. I did like this. I wanted to read this as we say goodbye. Chris says we need big, mean guys on both lines. I was thinking big, strong men with tears in their eyes. That's what Nebraska needs on the lines. All right, it's been Big Red Overreaction. Brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Brought to you by No Name Nutrition. Live a better, healthier, more natural life. Also, our great friends. Not that Equitable Bank and No Name Nutrition, they are super great. Great friends, Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair, Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more, and Peerless Energy Systems, your local compressed air systems experts. We have appreciated all the great phone calls and texts on the Jay Stinnett Contracting Hotline. And that is the show for tonight and now tomorrow morning. It is now tomorrow. Nebraska lost.
Oh, my God.
The time to bitch was 2 hours and 15 minutes ago when the show started. Join Gary and Matt on Monday. They'll talk about the game more.
Yeah, I unloaded the clip on a lot of takes today.
But wait, don't forget Sunday morning.
I wasn't going to, Joey. Don't worry. There will be severe reaction. I was gonna do all the Monday stuff and then say, but also before that, we have severe reaction coming.
Then we'll
up
have Connor
Monday.
Happer back from his vacation.
Connor, I can't wait for him to watch this game. John might be watching it right now. Maybe he poured a glass of Budweiser.
We told him, that's Budweiser.
That's cool, Budweiser.
If the moon is made of spare ribs, it's a simple question, Doctor. Can Nebraska block an old D-line?
Thanks to the callers. Thanks to Matt. Thanks to Joey. I'm Josh. We'll talk to everybody on Monday, but on Sunday first, Joey, on Sunday first. Enjoy the football tomorrow. Bye-bye.